It's 9 o'clock, and we're hoping that some polling collation areas may just get down to work at the moment. Let's check with our correspondent, Pius Angbo in Benue, to get some updates on what is the situation at the moment. Pius, what's happening? All right, Pius, could you tell us what do we expect now?
Chamberlain, and welcome to this. Thank you, Chamberlain. You're welcome to the State Collation Center in Makurdi here, the Benue State capital. At about 1 a.m. this morning, when we left this collation center before sitting was adjourned, 16 local governments had come in with their results, leaving 6 to go, and the returning officer, Professor Marco Sebastian, adjourned till 10 a.m. to continue with the remaining 6 local governments. But before I go into that matter, I would like to also have a recap of what we did yesterday and some of the issues that came up, some of the violence, and then somebody who was there physically on ground in Azendeshi who would also share with us how they were attacked and how they were rescued back to safety. Yesterday when we left the All Saints Primary School in Makurdi here, we proceeded to Mbalom. Recall that Mbalom has been on the news for very wrong reasons. In 2018, 2 Catholic priests were killed alongside 17 worshippers in an early morning mass. And on the 9th of March, when they were going to the polls, again, gunshots entered the air and election materials were burnt down. Now, these people live like they are perpetually in fear, and so when they hear any sound, they begin to run for safety. That much you saw from the discussions we held with them from Mbalom yesterday. But the good thing is that they held these elections, voted for candidates of their choice, and it was peaceful because of the deployment, particularly to say that Mbalom did cast their vote, and that was what the security agencies and INEC did very well yesterday. Logistic-wise, they were there on time. Security protection, they had enough, so there were no issues from Mbalom. The 10 polling units from the place, they had all the elections, and I think that as we wait for the result from Gwe East local government today, because that's a major electoral ward where election took place yesterday, we'll bring you figures from that place. And we proceeded from there to Awaji 1 and 2. Recall that Awaji is in Konshisha local government. This is the place where 28,500 and above votes were cancelled during the collation of results from the first round of ballots on the 10th of March here. The returning officer then, giving statistics of what had happened at his domain, said 36,000 people were accredited. And when he began to present the results from scores from various political parties, valid and invalid votes, he came up to about 31,000 votes that he could account for. And on live TV, deducted over 4,000 votes, saying that there were votes he didn't remove from one of the cancelled wards. Now, by the time they cancelled results, from 4,000 deducted from one cancelled ward, you had up to 28,500 votes for the entire local government that were cancelled. Now, these were the reasons why we went for the supplementary election in the first place. But again, yesterday, elections held. From what I monitored, all the agents of the political parties sat very clearly with the results from the wards to the local government collation center. They kept vigil, and they said nothing was going to happen to their result like it did the other time. And so we're expecting them here at the State Collation Center shortly with those results to round up, because Konshisha is proving to be one of the most difficult place to hold elections successfully, as we can tell from the records that have happened here. One of the incidences that happened yesterday, which was the Shito Azendeshi violence, is still fresh in our minds because materials meant for over 13,000 voters were burnt down. You saw that on live TV when we sent those materials yesterday. And the ad hoc staff were rescued by Soja, I gather from that. And I have joined me right now an eyewitness who was right there following materials to Azendeshi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, what exactly happened from Ukum when you took election materials heading to Azendeshi? Yes, can you give us everything that happened, please?
Thank you very much. I accompanied the member representing Ukum State constituency to LGA Primary School, Chito, the headquarters of Azendeshi Council Ward, where the collation for the supplementary election was located. So on getting to the collation center, youth suspected to be political thugs rushed to the member's vehicle and decided that the member should go back to his place, that the headquarters of Azendeshi and the Azendeshi Council Ward was not where the member is coming from, and as such, he should go back. The member was there because the elections of 9th March was marred with violence in the area, and the member was there for peace to be maintained and for a peaceful election. But the youth succeeded in pushing the member and the team. The main issue is that the thugs were suspected to belong to a particular political party, and they were doing that for a particular candidate.
Now, let me ask you, what exactly happened that you were attacked? I want to know what exactly, at what point were you attacked? How did you come out of that place? How did the burning of the material take place?
Okay, on getting to the venue, the youth took on us and started attacking us right at the venue. And the security, we had up to 50 policemen on our entourage to Chito. But they were helpless because the youth were numbering more than 1,000 with ammunitions. And they overpowered the security men with us. And they couldn't just help the situation. So they succeeded in pushing us and beating us, and we left the venue.
How were you rescued?
We made some calls while in the bush, and a few hours we saw men of the Nigerian army, 4 trucks. They were the people that came and rescued us from the bush where we were held hostage.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving us this insight. That's a plus for the military, because before now there has been this hue and cry that the army was going to influence election results in favor of a political party. But we can now hear that they are lifesavers. And so it was not in vain that they were deployed for these elections, because if they hadn't come there, even the ad hoc staff deployed with election materials may not have left there. Recall that in Taka, on the 9th of March, 3 of the ad hoc staff were taken hostage alongside with election materials. And so we must begin to look at the operations of security vis-a-vis community relations among community members and how we behave with ourselves as a people. From Azendeshi, the next issue that is violent related was the returning officer from Boko. By the time I was leaving the polling unit in Boko yesterday, I drove to the INEC Collation Center, and I met her, Professor Comfort Doshima Tulem. And we spoke because in the last election she was from Ushongo, she was the returning officer from Ushongo local government, and we spoke about whether or not adequate security had been provided for their safe movement with election materials and results to Makodi. And when I got here at about 8, information filtered in that she had been shot on her way with election results from Boko to Makodi. And indeed, you saw the press conference we took live here from the resident electoral commissioner, who confirmed that she was shot on the leg, and a replacement has been made in her stead to complete the presentation of results from Boko. That was done last night. This morning, we are here waiting for the resumption. The returning officer, Professor Meimako Sebastian, had said that we're going to reconvene by 10 a.m. But as it stands, that has not happened. A few vehicles are beginning to come into the INEC headquarters here, so we should hope that very soon activities here will pick up. Chamberlain.
Well, Myers, concerning the unfortunate incident of the person who was shot, do you have any information concerning how, if she's responding to treatment at the moment?
Yes. Before we adjourned from here yesterday, the CMD of the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, Professor Telumus, when they called and said that yes, they were dealing with a patient who had been shot on her way from Boko to Makadi, and the hospital was on top of it to say that everything needed to be done to keep her safe was ongoing. And of course, when the REC briefed, he told us specifically that she was shot on the leg. So it's not a life-threatening injury, I think. And because there was prompt medical attention, she's receiving treatment, and I hope that maybe at the end of all of this, we'll be able to visit her in the hospital to see the state of her health, and then we perhaps get an eyewitness or get her own account of what had happened, exactly where she was shot, and all of that.
To see that. But is there any preliminary information from security agents concerning the assailants?
Well, like I mentioned to you when we spoke yesterday, is that the police commissioner in charge of this election hasn't been very, very free with the media. And I said this categorically because when this happened yesterday and the vehicle she was driving was brought into INEC, I saw the commissioner of police driving in here, and I went to meet him. I said, this is what has happened. Can you talk to us about anything police know about this? And he told me, frankly, that he does not have any information. He has not confirmed it, and I should wait until he has confirmation. Up until at about 1 a.m. when the rec came up here to make the announcement confirming the shooting of Professor Teloem, the police have not said a word about it. And this is the problem we are having with dealing with issues of security and responses from the police. Where people report that they've been attacked or they are violent conduct, when you call the police to ask, do they have information on this, they will tell you, no, we don't have. We'll get back to you, and that's the end of the matter. Since 8 p.m. last night till the time we are speaking now, we haven't been able to hear from the CP nor any of the authorities on the attack on this woman.
Okay, well, Bayoji, you've been in the field for a while now. From your estimation, what do you expect? Do you think that they're going to go ahead and announce and conclude collation and announcement of results today? Or do you think that there just may be a hitch somewhere that will delay the entire process conclusions today?
Okay, maybe I should give you a background to what we were expecting before we went into the supplementary elections. When the result was declared, the election was declared inconclusive, we had an outstanding 121,000 registered voters in 22 local governments that the supplementary election were to hold yesterday. And out of that number, 109,703 people had collected their PVC. But when we went to the field yesterday, in the entire local government, the result that came in, you see maybe this party getting 2, the other party getting 147, the other party is scoring 0. And so there was huge low turnout yesterday. Before the election was declared inconclusive, the sitting governor was leading with 81,554 votes. His closest challenger, the APC governorship candidate, came second behind him. Now, the number of people who turned out for the election yesterday aren't even up to half of these outstanding votes. And so 16 local governments have been collated. We have just 6 to go. And it is not to say that this will not happen. It will end today because most of the local governments, as we came in here, were already coming to the premises. And so we are expecting that when we reconvene, this result will be announced, a winner will be declared, and we'll move on from these elections in Benue.
All right, Powers Angle, thank you very much, and stay safe. Gentlemen, a lot to unpack from what he said. Now, first and foremost, our hearts go out to the woman who was shot. It's really
ad hoc
unfortunate.
staff at that, and
ad hoc staff.
You know, it calls to question so many things. We ought to be somewhere else, all of us here right now, but we are here. Well, this is not ad hoc anyway. But that's not the only one. You also remember, I think it was during the governorship election, a young lady who was also presiding officer of sorts, who was also shot, who just graduated and was shot and all of that.
But the response of the police, it's important, equally important here, where he's saying that the police, they seem to have, they're not forthcoming on this particular matter. You
mean this current one?
Yeah, the commissioner of police, as he said, he's not been speaking, he's not been forthcoming with journalists. So why do we get the sense that they think it's us and them? They're supposed to be working together. They're supposed to be accountable to the people. Do you get the sense that that's what's going on?
the whole, it's horrible. I mean, you're listening to that report from your correspondent and you're thinking, are we having an election, or is this a war? I mean, is this a civil war or something, you know? And obviously, the role of the security agencies in this has again got to be called to question. Why would, in other parts of the world, you see these types of things, and you see the law enforcement officers making a genuine and sincere effort to put information out there about what has happened? Why is this important? So that people can get confidence that things may have gone wrong, but they will be kept in check by the authorities. So a situation where the police commissioner is not taking the opportunity to speak with the public has got to be questioned.
Okay. All right. At the moment, we understand that the the collation of results in Bauchi is ongoing at the moment. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to that, and Bauchi people also have been looking forward to that. So the process is on, so you get to see the images shortly, and then subsequently we'll get down and find out what exactly is going on. But these are the images, as you can see at the moment. So all the officials just doing what they can. Is that taking a phone call? Okay, so, but I guess it's just deep in thoughts as to what's going on, how they will sort those processes out at the moment. Do we cross over now?
Local government, Dr. Aminu Yakubu Abubakar.
Which local government?
Misau local government.
Give me the order for Misau. That will be number what? Why can't be number 12? Yeah, Misau, 1 minute, I'll get to you.